All right, hey, it's Mike. I'm here. I'm back, and we're gonna do some more Krishna updates. What do we got? We got Queen of Karma. Hey, Queen of Karma. I am glad you came by to watch. I hope you can catch up next time or watch on the replay. This is gonna be a good one. We got a lot of videos to watch. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Let me get right to it. So we're gonna get to the opening. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello.
All right. Hey, thanks for sticking it out. The opening, it's always fun. Let's see, we got Fake Human. Hey, man. Hey, thanks for being here. Running after that kiwi. Yeah, we got some of that going on. And so I got some videos to watch. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And you know, I'm not trying to convert anybody. Well, I am. I'm trying to deprogram people out of a cult. I'm not trying to turn anybody into an atheist. I'm not trying to break anybody's faith in their religion. I'm not going to do any of that. But if you're in a dangerous pedophile cult and you didn't realize it, this is the right place because this is what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about how the Hare Krishnas is not some religion with a cool restaurant or whatever. It's a dangerous cult, and it's no different than ISIS or the Manson family or any other dangerous friggin' cult. And it's not easy, it's not hard to see. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not here to knock anybody's religion or turn anybody into an atheist or anything. I'm all for anybody to do whatever makes you happy, man. So, but if you want to learn about a dangerous cult, the Hare Krishnas, this is the place. And if it's gonna shake your faith in your own religion because of some of the things that I'm gonna be talking about, or some of the things that I'm gonna be discussing, then and you're not in a cult, well then I apologize. I'm not here to shake your faith in anything. So that being said, my first video is Patton Oswalt, and he's talking about faith. And so I just thought it was a little funny comedy thing to kind of liven it up. But hey, if this is going to make you, give up being a whatever you are, maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't watch. I don't know. Here we go. Let's see.
People that are against gay marriage, if they just openly said, I'm against gay marriage because thinking about two men having butt sex or two women having scissor sex kills my boner, dries up my vagina, I can't have sex, it ruins my life, that's why I'm against it. That would be a valid argument. We'd have to actually debate you on that. But these lunatics always go, well, because it says in the Bible. Okay, stop, hang on. I'm glad you like a book. I really am. I'm glad that... At this point, I'm glad anybody's reading anything. And I'm not even putting it in the Bible. The Bible is terrific. Give it a read. It's got monsters and adventures and hey, if you like torture porn, check out the Old Testament. Oh man, Any Saw fans out there? Woo! Get the Old Testament. But just because you like something in a book doesn't mean you can have the thing you like in the book happen in real life. That's what crazy people want. I can't go to the White House with a bunch of Green Lantern comics and go, I want a Green Lantern ring. I saw it in a book I like. Make the thing in the book I like be here now. I would be justifiably tased if I did that. Nobody would go, hey, we have to respect his beliefs. You know, you've gotta respect everybody's beliefs. No, you don't. That's what gets us in trouble. You have to acknowledge it, and then you have to reserve the right to go, that is fucking stupid. Are you kidding me? I acknowledge you believe that. That's great, but I'm not gonna respect it. I have an uncle who believes he saw Sasquatch. We do not believe him, nor do we respect him. What if I 1,000% believed, and I believe this 1,000%, what if I believed that there was a giant invisible anus hovering over me? And if I wasn't nice and helpful and courteous and charitable to everyone I met, the anus would appear, suck me up into it, and I would be devoured by shit piranhas. And I believe this 1,000%. I would be the nicest guy you ever met. You'd be like, Patton, you're so helpful and charitable and courteous to people. Why is that? And I would go, it's funny you should ask me that. You can't see it, but there's an invisible anus hovering over me. And if I'm not nice to everybody, it will appear and suck me up, and I'll be eaten. Well, I don't need to tell you about the shit piranhas. We all know about those.
Okay. Well, there we go. So, you know, I agree with him. I acknowledge that people have beliefs, you know, these stories and these books, and I don't have a problem. I lost my. Oh my goodness. Oh well. I don't know. I'm a little in the dark right now. What happened? There we go. Everybody has these beliefs, but I like, you know, I don't have to acknowledge or say that your beliefs are valid. The idea that you believe that there's a demon head eating the moon, or that there's a guy growing on a flower, growing out of the stomach of a four-armed guy that's in orbit out in outer space somewhere. I don't have to. I acknowledge that you believe that. I acknowledge, okay, you believe that. But I have the right, you have the right to believe that, I have the right to say, this is fucking stupid. There's no demon head eating the moon. There's no four-armed guy. There's no four-headed guy growing out of a flower. Out of the stomach of a four-armed guy that's sleeping on a snake. That's his brother. It's just, that's it. So I acknowledge that people have these beliefs, these Hindu beliefs. But just because you have these beliefs, it doesn't mean that it's not crazy. That it's not crazy. And then to be involved with some pedophile cult and try to say that these stories, that this is some excuse that Hindu it because it's Hindu mythology. I have to accept it, or I can't speak out because it's a pedophile cult. I need to respect. Bullshit. We have to give these people a parade in Venice Beach because they're masquerading as a religion that believes in these stories. It's because they believe in these stories that belong to some Vedic or some Indian culture. I don't know. I'm not even gonna accept their Vedic culture crap. These stories, it's Indian culture stories, mythology. And because they've decided to glom onto this Indian culture, Now we have to just accept this child marriage pedophile cult can hold a festival down in Venice Beach and recruit people, spread this crap about child marriage and pedophilia and ruining people's lives. I mean, the list goes on and on. Because of some wacky beliefs? Like he said, you give a good argument for believing something, then we have to debate you on the reality of your claims. But when it's based on mythological stories or an invisible anus above my head or a guy floating between planets that plays the guitar or any of these other just as silly, crazy stories. And then you want me to, I live my life according to this stuff? Because you say so? Then it becomes dangerous and insane. Marrying 12-year-old girls off to grown men who think they have a right to be married to 12 and 13-year-old girls? And women are never to be independent, to have a life of their own? This is Taliban type stuff. This goes beyond just a religious worldview of Christianity or Judaism. This is a dangerous pedophile cult where gurus go around molesting little kids and nothing happens to them. It's retards are us, Mental Incorporated, but it's also, these guys are like extremist, crazy. These are dangerous people with these ideas. They can just go kill people and ban and beat, intimidate people, shoot people in their vans. And then the guy that goes to jail is then he's made into a swami in jail. And the whole community where the guy got shot, they're all celebrating that the guy's dead. And then one of the ladies from that community is sent into a war zone and killed because of some crazy guru said, I want you to go to this country that's in the middle of probably one of the most dangerous places in the world. Like going into Somalia. We need you to go to Somalia and preach. What are you, insane? Is she brainwashed? She went, right, okay, I'll go. But that's not dangerous. They told this guy's brother, you need to go to India, milk a cow, and get initiation from one of our gurus. He went and he did that. What else will he do? Once they got their brain, once they got a hold of their brain like that, like the guy said, I was part of that community. If they had asked me to go murder the guy, I probably would have done it too. That's how friggin' insane this is. At least he admitted it. At least he came clean and said, yeah, I was just as brainwashed as the rest of them. If they had asked me to do it, I probably would have done it too. I know the people that I was working with, they wanted to get rid of me. Threatening me. Who knows what they would have done to me if they caught up with me. I'm hanging out in front of the temple and all of a sudden 2 or 3 of these guys come up, maybe more, It's because they don't like me anymore because I said Prabhupada was 22, had sex with an 11-year-old girl, and that's wrong. All of a sudden, these guys want to like shut me up. Who knows what they would have done? I don't know what they would have done to me. They killed the other guy. I'm not saying they would have killed me, but they threatened me. Over what? Crazy. People are nuts. It goes beyond just getting up and going to church on Sunday, celebrating Easter or Passover, and believing in some book of stories or whatever. Yeah, that you want to believe in that, fine. Make you happy, fine. That's not a dangerous ass cult. Child marriage promoting, pedophile protecting, murdering, raping. Children aren't safe. Nobody's safe. Ruining families' lives, ruining families, breaking up marriages. That's what you're in. This is what you're involved in. This isn't just like, oh, you're a Hindu and you're practicing some 5,000-year-old tradition and just chant and be happy and, oh, don't worry, be happy. No, this is some friggin' weird ass pedophile cult crap, man. I know. I was in it for 20 years. I know. My daughter was molested by these freaks. I know firsthand what I'm talking about. I'm making this shit up. Here's my next video. Let's see what we got here.
I think that all religions are wrong in the same way, in that they privilege faith over reason, but they're not all equally bad in the same way all the time. I mean, if I'd been writing in the 1930s, I would certainly have said that the Roman Catholic Church was the most dangerous religion in the world because of its open alliance with fascism and anti-Semitism, which the damage from that our culture has never recovered from and never will. But at the moment, it's very clear to me that the most toxic form that religion takes is the Islamic form. The horrible idea of wanting to end up with Sharia, with a religion-governed state of religious law, and that the best means of getting there is jihad, holy war, and that Muslims have a special right to feel aggrieved enough to demand this, I think is absolute obscene wickedness, and I think their religion is nonsense.
So and I feel the same way about Hare Krishna. And I think Hare Krishna is just as dangerous because it does specific harm to individual people that are not suspecting it. Families being broken up, children being harmed. The same type of Sharia law crap, instead of Sharia law, it's Prabhupada law. Prabhupada's books are the law books for the next 10,000 years. And whatever he says in his books is absolutely, positively, 100% the law. If Prabhupada says 12-year-old girls must be married, 25-year-old boys or men, see, 12-year-old girls can get married, they're women. But the 25-year-old men, they're just boys. That's Prabhupada's law. All the kids going to Gurukul don't have a choice in the matter. It's just Prabhupada law. It's the same shit. It's just as dangerous. It's just on a smaller level, but it's just as dangerous. It's just as dangerous to the individual person that gets involved with it. You don't want to get involved with it. It's like getting involved with ISIS or the Taliban or Al Qaeda or Jonestown or Waco. It's the same thing. And it's all nonsense and it's all bullshit. It's Prabhupada bullshit. That's what they want. They all talk about Prabhupada like they don't shut up about him. They talk about Krishna, they talk about this, but they don't talk about Prabhupada all the time. He's the one. He's the whole thing. The whole Ritvik thing, the book changes, the poisoning is the whole thing. It's been gone for 60 friggin' years. Shut up about him. All right, so now, of course, we're going to get to my favorite, my favorites, the cult expert herself, the knitting cult lady, justice for little girls. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get to that. I got a lot of stuff to look at. I want to get to. That's why it's all videos, mostly videos today. But here, this is a really good deprogramming class. So, you Hare Krishnas that are watching, that are in the cult, you didn't know what you were getting into. You had no idea. You thought you were going to a yoga class. You thought you were going to some drum circle type thing. You thought it was vegetarian food. Next thing you know, a couple months in, you don't know what the hell's going on. You went to the YouTube or you went to the internet, you typed it in, Hare Krishna, and boom, you found me. So this is what we're doing. We're deprogramming. This is what we're doing here. And so here is knitting cult lady. She's a cult expert. Here you go. Let's see.
Let's talk about brainwashing, because obviously in cults that's a big topic. And it's not true that scientists claim that brainwashing is not a thing. Cult apologists claim that brainwashing is not a thing. And I'll tell you more about that. I'm Danielle, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. And I've written 2 books about cults. Uncultured, my memoir about growing up in the Children of God religious cult and then going into the cult of the U.S. Army, and The Culting of America, my research book on cults. Coming soon, January 20th. You can get pre-orders linked in the bio. So, there is a very famous cult book called Cultish, and it's a very good book. Unfortunately, she chose to platform cult apologists. She's not a cult survivor. Her father's a cult survivor, and she is a linguist, Amanda Montel, and she wrote a book about the way cults use language and the way other groups use language like cults. Right? It's a great book. It was one of my introductions to reading theories about cults, etc. Unfortunately, she platformed Eileen Barker and other cult apologists who were popular during the cult wars. What are the cult wars? Let me tell you about that. So in the 60s and the 70s, we had one of our big waltz with cults. That was one of our big rounds of cults since the 1830s. And then in the 1930s, we had some more. In the 1960s and 70s, we had a lot. And this, after Jonestown and followed by Manson, like this is when the word cult became firmly used in a pejorative way. When we say someone's in a cult, we are trying to say they are under coercive control. Okay, so Americans in the 80s started demanding help, started demanding we wanted legislation to protect against coercive control. And this is when the cult wars got started, because your regular religious leaders said, if they make laws around coercive control, that might affect our power. So these started fighting back against it. And this is when the cult wars were born. Religious leaders went to a bunch of religious scholars who should keep their noses the fuck out of cult scholarship. And they started to say things like, brainwashing is not real. They got Eileen Barker. They got 2 of the siblings of people who had helped plan and execute the mass murder at Jonestown to say brainwashing wasn't real, which was very convenient for them. And they even got Gordon Melton, the man who named new religious movements, who took $100,000 from the pedophile cult to say that they were not a cult. Okay, back to brainwashing. We know that brainwashing is real. Scientists are almost all completely agreed on it. Robert Lifton has been studying brainwashing or thought reform ever since the late 60s. Right, so what happened in the late 60s is we got our prisoners of war back from Korea, and they had been brainwashed. They had learned this from the Chinese. The Chinese learned this when Mao did it to his entire country during the Great Leap Forward. Okay, this is something that we can study. It's in history. We know it's true. Has it been warped by white Western academics? Yes. And we need much more broader looks at it. But this is how we came to know about it. And this is when the government said, can we use this as a weapon against our own soldiers? And then they put together modern day basic training, and after hiring 4 psychologists who studied abusive relationships and cults, because those guys always been knowing how to do it. So this is the basic history, and the idea that scientists disagree on brainwashing comes from this very popular book on cults. It's not true. I do want to point out for the record that Cultish is a good book. In my field, it is absolutely great. Her podcast, Sounds Like a Cult, is a good podcast. We don't really know why she chose to platform the cult apologists. I think based on what she has said when she was asked about it, it's just that she didn't know the topic well enough. Coming back to say, by the way that brainwashing actually works. Isolation, pain, small acts of kindness, and fear. Isolation, fear, any kind of fear will do. Pain, small acts of kindness. It's how you break people. Constant surveillance is one of the tactics that breaks people the fastest.
Running her.
So my evil twin. So I just want to say, when I think about my time in the Hare Krishnas, and I think about there's a lot of isolation because you're in the ashram or you're in the temple. All your time is dedicated to being around devotees or being at the temple and doing devotional service, whatever. So you're isolating. You're away from your family. You're away from your friends. You've pretty much given up all those things, and you're just focused on your spiritual life. Doing devotional service, which is basically isolation. That is just another name for being isolated from the real world. And devotional service it can be painful. Getting up early in the morning, taking a cold shower or whatever, Mangal Artik, chanting all your rounds, trying to get all your rounds done, selling books or going out on Sankirtan or doing whatever service you're doing for free labor. All of that is doing free labor and doing all of that service is it's almost like a labor camp, right? It's almost like you're forced labor. It's almost like forced labor because you got to do service, you got to do something. So that's like isolation and pain, work, and then small acts of kindness. You get that prasadam. You get the kirtan, you get dance around the temple during kirtan. You get some prasadam, you get Sunday feast is a big party. You get the festival days, Prabhupada festival, Rath Yatra, all the holidays, all the appearance days, all the feasting days. Those are the little acts of kindness that they throw you. The guru coming through and giving you, showing you some whatever. And then it's just back to isolation, isolation and pain. And calling it devotional service. So that's, but I got more knitting cult lady. I got more knitting cult lady here. And let's see, what do we got? What do we got next?
Oh, a cult never succeeds in their mission because then the cult would be done, right? And you wouldn't need it. But most importantly, because the promise of the cult is always a lie. because a cult is not about a mission. A cult is not about a person. It's not about a sacred assumption. It's about labor. It's about labor, labor, labor. Okay? So this is why we say that cults always promise space travel, right? The ultimate promise of a cult, the thing that a cult is promising you, is always something that is so far removed that you're never going to reach it, right? It's almost always in another life, in another time, in another body, in another planet, in another form, in another dimension, Alcoholics Anonymous, or in another life. In some single family cults, I've seen Disneyland used as the promise of the mission. I've even seen a trip to Mozambique used. Long story. But it's something not deliverable, right? And when I first had the thought about cults always promise space travel, I was like, what? Why though? Why do they always have it? And part of that is because you cannot have people reach enlightenment because it was a lie, right? So the mission that is tied to the Epstein list, it wasn't just release the Epstein list, right? What Donald Trump has promised his followers for a decade is that he would rain down political apocalypse on their Democratic enemies. He would perp walk the Obamas and the Clintons and pull thousands of little white children out of cages where they've been sex trafficked. And as one of those little white children that was sex trafficked by powerful people, I can tell you, he not going to do it because he painted a false picture, right? That's not how it goes. And he can't rain down political apocalypse on his enemies because he's not a dictator. He's the president, and the president doesn't have that power. So there's no what if the mission succeeds. The mission is not real. The mission doesn't ever succeed. Not ever. I'm Danielle, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. And when I say to you, I wrote about cults always promise.
So yes, Hare Krishna does promise space travel. It's in another life. You will go to the cow planet, Goloka Vrindavan, or any planet. Prabhupada has a book called Easy Journey Easy Journey to Other Planets. He says you can go to easy journey. You can go to any planet you want to go, and he'll tell you how to do it. All you gotta do is just meditate on that demigod of that planet that you want to go to, and perform devotional service, and you can go to Goloka Vrindavan. You can go to the cow planet, but it's in another lifetime, in another form. When you leave this life, you take birth in your next life, then you get the space travel. Then you get to go to the other planet. You know, you don't get it now. You don't get anything now. You do all the labor, all that free labor, all the selling of the books, pushing the shopping cart around, Costco parking lot, all of that. You do all that now. Washing the guru's feet, whatever it is that they got you doing. Typesetting, editing a web page, like I was doing for years. Editing books and editing web pages and designing all that crap I was doing for free, while people that were doing the same thing that I was doing for the 5-10 years that I was doing it, getting paid. No, I was brainwashing and thinking that was devotional service. I was getting some kind of benefit for it. I was getting some kind of spiritual benefit for doing free labor for these guys that ended up threatening me because I didn't want to hang out with some child predator. That's the insanity of this. The insanity of this cult. I got caught up in that crap. That's what this this cult is gonna chew you up and spit you out. And if you don't realize it's a pedophile cult, you're gonna just get burned out from them working you to death, and you get nothing out of it. As you'll see, some of the next videos that I got. It's the next video that I got. Okay, so, I had people talking about Hinduism and the Hindu scriptures and ancient tradition and 5,000-year-old this and Vedic culture and the Vedas. And so much bullshit. They don't understand it's all a bunch of bullshit. They don't get it. They don't understand it. So I came across this video, and she says something in this video, and I wanted to make this known because I've been saying this. I've been saying not exactly this, but basically this. And now and I found this video, and it has nothing to do with Krishna or cults, but it's got to do. Well, let me play the video. Let's see.
Y'all, I low-key give zero fucks about Usha Vance and the state of her marriage. The number of videos I have seen in the last couple of days that are like, JD's cozying up to Charlie Kirk's widow, and, Usha and JD's marriage is DOA. I don't give a shit. I have zero sympathy for her. It reminds me very much, it's kind of like pearl clutching around, JD hugging the Kirk widow. I'm sorry, Erica, is that her name? It reminds me of all of the people who during Trump's first term were like, oh, poor Melania, get free, Melania. We want you to escape. No, y'all, these women are complicit. I'm sorry. I don't actually have any sympathy at all for them. You know who I have sympathy for? The Epstein victims. You know who I have sympathy for? All of Donald Trump's accusers. You know who I have sympathy for? All of the women that JD Vance belittles, insults, demeans, all of the women who the Trump regime is trying to take away rights from. That's who I care about. I don't give a shit about Usha Vance. I just find it weird the way that people pathologize the wives of men like this, as if these women didn't benefit from those relationships, as if they didn't seek them out. I mean, I, as a white lady, am in probably no place to talk about the fact that Usha Vance is Brahmin and all of the connections there are between white supremacy in the United States and the caste system in India. But
so that's what caught my ear. White supremacy in the United States and Brahmanism in India. And it says right there, there's an article, The Parallels of Caste in the United States and India, and someone wrote a book about it. And there you go. And
pretending just because she's a woman of color that she's like some victim in that relationship, no. Can we bring our focus back around to the real victims who need our attention?
And that's let me get rid of my evil twin. And that's one of the things that I wanted to say without trying to see, like, people are going to say I'm attacking Hinduism if you say that this Brahmanism and this so-called Vedic culture that Prabhupada's talking about, this imaginary Vedic culture, this white supremacy, it's basically white supremacy. It's white supremacy, and that's what Prabhupada preaches in this Varnashram bullshit. This Varnashram, the Sanatana Dharma, he's preaching about the white Brahmins at the top. White people at the top. Now you think about these Prabhupada wanted to come to the West, make white disciples and make them into sannyasis and gurus, and then take them back to India and have Indians surrender and worship his white sannyasis who just, what, 20 years earlier got rid of the British, who were in their country for hundreds of years, fucking over their people for hundreds of years. They finally get rid of the British, and then Prabhupada goes and brings these white Hugh Turvey people back to India so that the Indians can worship his white sannyasis, who he thought were better than the Indians in India. That's what Prabhupada thought. That was Prabhupada's idea. Prabhupada wanted to bring these white hippies who were smoking pot and taking LSD and doing whatever they were doing, and he's going to magically just turn them into gurus and sannyasis, and then bring them back to India. The Tamal Krishna and Bhavananda and Gargamuni and Hugh Turvey. And he expects Indians to get down and wash their feet and worship these guys like they're God. That was Prabhupada's idea. He wanted his countrymen that just got rid of the British ruling their country for 200, 300 years, whatever it was, 400 years. Now he wants all the Indians to be worshiping his white disciples, Tamal Krishna, Satsarupa and Jayatirtha and Kirtanananda. That's his idea. Oh, fuck. Talk about white supremacy. Why? Because they're white? You couldn't get any Indians would want to follow your bullshit. They could see through your crap. So you get a bunch of white hippies that don't know any better, and you're going to bring them back to India? And expect Indians to worship these people? Fuck, man. It's freaking crazy, man. Pushing a shopping cart of books around. Like these books are so valuable, you know? Wait till you see that. I got a video of that. Wait till you see this. What do we got? What do we got next? So the white supremacy, there's just so much crap. So here's a guy who left the Hare Krishnas, and you know, God bless him, he got out of a very dangerous cult, and whatever he's doing, it doesn't compare. It doesn't compare to the cult that he was in. But I came across this video and I thought I'd check it out a little bit. Let's see what he's got to say.
So I realized, hey, you know what? I haven't read the New Testament. Let me just try that. And I loved Revelation. I was studying all about Revelation and the mark of the beast and the Antichrist and the 7-year tribulation. And 3.5 years in, the Antichrist is going to sit in the temple of God. I knew all that stuff because I was watching Christian YouTube channels. And I was like, man, they got good content. And you know, they believe in God. They believe in Jesus. They're talking about the Bible. I love all that stuff. You know, I wish they were Hare Krishna, I would think, right? Wish they would know the full truth, the real truth. Man, I had no idea. The Bible says there are ways that seem right to a man, and the end thereof is death. That's where I was headed. Straight to eternal death. No salvation, because I didn't have Jesus in my life. And he's the only way. He's the only ticket. He's the golden ticket, as they say in the Willy Wonka movie, right? I've got a golden ticket. He is the golden ticket. You got that ticket, you're going straight to heaven. So much has happened in 5 years, guys. 15 years I was a Hare Krishna. My life was nothing good. It feels like all a waste all that time. You know, I didn't go back to school. I was wasting my talents, right? All my talents, I stopped doing them because everything was devoted to the guru and the temple, and it was.
Sorry about that, everybody. What did I do? I did something horrible. Where'd this guy go? Okay. Okay.
It was just, we didn't even do anything good. I mean, we did some good things. We gave we gave food to the poor people. We preached, all that kind of stuff that we thought was good, right? But really, when I look at my personal life, I was depressed. I was suicidal. I had addictions just raging off the charts. Nothing helped me in that religion.
15 years. He's in it for 15 years. This is, and he's confessing to what life was like for him when he was in there.
Right? And after becoming a Christian, only 5 years, I started getting a master's degree less than a year in. What is that about?
There you go. There you go. See, he can be a Christian. This is the difference between a cult and a religion. This is one of the differences between a cult and a religion. He's found Jesus, whatever, right? And he's living a life as a Christian. He calls himself a Christian. Good for him. That's great. I got no problems with that. And he says, hey, I went to school. I got a master's degree. It doesn't affect my life in that way. It doesn't consume my life in that way. I can be a Christian and I can go get a master's degree in whatever he wants to do. He can watch movies. He can watch television. He can do. It's up to him whatever he wants to do. It's completely up to him what he wants to do, and he's having a great time. He's like 5 years as a being a Christian, calling himself a Christian. He's able to get a master's degree, in some in something. He looks happy. He's happy. He sounds happy. 15 years as a Hare Krishna. He says, I didn't do anything. We fed the poor. We did some preaching. Sold some books, pushed a shopping cart around Costco for 15 years or something. Washed some guy's feet, maybe.
And I'm not saying that to boast at all. I'm boasting in the Lord. As soon as I turned my life to Christ, which means that I believed in him, that he died for me. That's what it means to turn your life to Christ. As soon as I did that, he became Lord of my life. He is Lord. Okay, and I made him Lord the moment that I believed in him and put my faith in him. And from that moment, I was saved, and it was a 180. The Holy Spirit was put into me. I could feel something different. Something shifted. I stopped bowing to idols immediately. Yeah, a lot of the Hare Krishna stuff I still believed in. It took a year of studying the Bible and studying their scripture and ironing these things out, but the Bible won out. But immediately, I was changed. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not Hare Krishna. I'm a Christian. And the people in the temple were like, what? What do you mean you're a Christian? You're going backwards. I said, yeah, whatever you want to call it. I'm going backwards. Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care. I'm going with Jesus.
So and I believe. Let me get over here with this for a minute, because this is important. This is an important thing. Hey, hey Jenna Morton, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. I'm glad you're here. So this is an important thing, and this is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying from the beginning, and I've been saying it, and I'll keep saying it. Guys like this, he was in it for 15 years. He didn't realize he was in a very dangerous pedophile cult, because if he had said that, if he realized that, he would have said in the beginning, he would have said, hey, I was in this dangerous pedophile cult for 15 years. I didn't realize all the child marriage and these gurus touching little kids. It's disgusting. And they're covering up for it, and they protect them. And there's just one scandal after another. And while I was in for 15 years, I saw like a handful of gurus fall. That's what he should be saying. But he's not. He's like, he was probably in his own world. Here's how a lot of Hare Krishnas are. He might have just been in his own world and serving a guru, some guru, living in a temple somewhere. I don't know what he was doing. But if you came across the child marriage stuff and the pedophile stuff, and he put all the dots together, and he knew that Prabhupada was 22 and he had a 11-year-old wife, and he's telling them they can beat the kids, and all these kids are molested, and $400 million lawsuit, and all the suicides and all of this stuff. I don't know why he's not talking about it. He's talking about like, hey, I was in this call, I was doing the Hare Krishna thing, and then now I'm not. And it wasn't for me, and now I found Jesus and now I'm doing this. So maybe he doesn't really know. Maybe he doesn't really know how dangerous it is. A lot of people don't know. And that's my point. There's a lot of people can get in this cult, be in there for a while. I mean, I was in it for 20 years. I only realized that how seriously it was a sick, disgusting cult after about, when I started leaving, it took me about like a year to like figure everything out. It took about a year to like kind of like go, oh my God, cracks getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like one of the knitting cult lady, I don't know if I have the video for knitting cult lady, but one of the videos that she says is like, you can't get someone out. There's no magic thing that you can say. There's no video you can show. There's no webpage you can show them. There's no argument you can make. It's just a deprogramming, and hopefully you can create a crack in their thinking, a crack in their logic, like a little crack, and they go, and then after a while that crack will grow and grow and grow, and then maybe other cracks will add to it, and then eventually one day it'll all come fall apart. But you can't force that to happen on somebody. You can't, unless you kidnap them and smack. I don't know what you do. You'd have to force it. You have to like brainwash. You have to deprogram them, which would be like it's like brainwashing, like unbrainwashing. You'd have to isolate them. You'd have to break them. You'd have to get a person, and you can't do that. You can't do that. So there's no way to just undo someone. That's why awareness is so important, so that people don't fall into it. They don't get sucked into it, because it's self-indoctrination. They voluntarily let themselves be brainwashed. And they don't realize it, and they don't realize the damage it's doing to them, and then eventually it's too late. They're beyond the point of no return. Like the girl that's writing in after 2 months saying, I'm confused, I don't want to lose Krishna, I'm about my boyfriend, and all. 2 months. That's brainwashing, that's manipulation. And she didn't realize it. A lot of people, they think they just get a book and they're going to read this. Oh, I got a Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to read this book. They don't realize that shit gets in their brain. And then there's a tipping point where they're like, you know what, I like this stuff. It's like they get over it. Oh, yeah, I can go to the temple and I can do all this stuff and it's all fun. They don't realize it. Like this guy. Probably didn't realize what he was getting into. 15 years. He's like, you know what? But that doesn't mean he knows that it's all about pedophiles and child marriage, and maybe he never got to Ramananda Roy rubbing on little girls. Maybe he never got to that part. Maybe he never found out that when he goes back to the Godhead, he's going to become a little 11-year-old girl. Or maybe he did. And he's like, I don't know. I don't know what his. Oh, I lost my light again. I guess I got a short somewhere. Anyway, so that's that guy. So we got this guy. Moving right along with his watch party here. Let me see. What do we got? So here's another one. Here's another ex Hare Krishna. Because I want you to see that there are people out there that, like you, were having doubts. They didn't know. They didn't understand. They were getting confused, and then they found their way out. They found their way out. You can get out of this cult. So let's take a look at what's going on with this one.
Okay, I'm sat today in a park, weirdly, in the Dutch city of Groningen, which I've just mispronounced, with Ben Den Ouden, who's oddly agreed to talk to me, who's a postgraduate student here at the University of Groningen, But also, I understand you used to be a member of ISKCON.
Yep.
What's ISKCON?
ISKCON, well, the acronym stands for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, but most people know them as the Hare Krishna movement.
Okay, so the stereotype is probably taken from things like the movie Airplane, when you see them in the airport, kind of singing and chanting, and
Yeah.
that kind of stereotype of popular culture.
Bald-headed guys in orange
Yeah.
robes.
So is that completely inaccurate and misrepresentation?
In some respects, no.
Okay.
Well, the thing is that at the time Airport was filmed, for example, it was the 1980s, and that was basically ISKCON's profile. So in terms of the time when Airport depicts it was quite accurate, and it is still quite accurate to some degree. But of course, ISKCON in its, I think now 60 years, I think it's up to 60 years, it has evolved in terms of how it interfaces with the public, and it isn't all orange robes and bald-headed guys. Yeah.
And the chanting. So that's not the question I told you I'd ask you. But that's fine. ISKCON is, as many people may know, certainly our students may know, considered to be an offshoot to a sectarian division of Hinduism in some way or other. So you're not from India. You weren't born into a Hindu family. So how do you find yourself, somebody from the other side of the world, or from here as well as from India, practicing what is ultimately a form of an ancient Indian religion?
It was quite it was quite a lengthy process. It started with me becoming interested in yoga and sort of general Eastern philosophy, and doing a lot of reading into things. And actually, I mean, I ended up at the London ISKCON temple in Soho quite by accident.
Okay, so first of all, a couple things right off the bat there. He repeated the lie that it's an ancient tradition or ancient whatever. I heard him say it was an ancient tradition or ancient practice. Ancient practice. It's not ancient.
The London ISKCON temple in Soho.
He said he ended up. He said he got into it because he was interested in yoga. So again, he was probably just looking for a yoga class, or he went to a yoga class, or he was, interested. Maybe he was dating a girl that was into yoga, or maybe they were both going to yoga, or he whatever. And he ended up. He says he ended up by accident at the Hare Krishna temple in Soho.
By accident one day, and sort of from there, I met some people, made some sort of acquaintanceships and friendships, and things kind of built from there.
So just through casual acquaintance, becoming more and more involved.
Yeah, I was also looking for something as well, because I was interested in Eastern philosophy, and I think at the time, because of where I was at in my life, I was kind of looking for a bit of a worldview almost. And
you almost sound like what my New Religious Movement students recognise as one of the types of people we discussed recently when we called them spiritual seekers.
Yeah.
That's quite a category that's often quite recognised of young people. You were then young.
Yes.
So again, it sounds like he's just repeating the, I was, spiritually seeking. He doesn't say I was scammed. He doesn't say it's a bunch of bullshit. He doesn't say it's not an ancient 5,000-year-old tradition. It's all based on lies. The founder is a scammer, guru, cult leader. He's basically just like, hey, I got involved in this religion.
Still technically,
yeah, more or less. Still kind of looking for kind of something in their life to give them meaning, as you put it, looking for a worldview. So how long were you involved with this kind of
looking for a worldview? What's the worldview of ISKCON? Worldview of ISKCON is racist and sexist, misogynistic, it's homophobic. Believes in child marriage. It believes in us versus them. Everybody's a demon. Everybody's a demon and a karmi, a malecha and a yavana, a rakshasa. And there's just demons and devotees. That's it. And if you're not a devotee, well then, hey, guess what? You're a demon. And you can sit there and go, well, I don't have to treat everybody. Well, you don't have to treat everybody. That's the worldview. This is what you're reading in the books every day. This is what they're saying in the purports every day when you go to class in the morning. when you go to class in the evening, the books that you're handing out in the shopping cart, the books that you're pushing around the shopping cart, in the shopping cart at the DMV. That's what the books say. Women have small brains. Women are less intelligent. Women like to be raped. Women are this and that. The 3 things you can beat: a drum, a dog, and a woman. Never trust a woman, he says. I mean, I go on, but this is the worldview that you're looking for, that you identified with. I mean, we all did. We were in it. This is what we were in. We were in this. But we recognize it. We recognize that this is what we got scammed. We were lied to. We got scammed. We were brainwashed, manipulated, spiritual abuse, spiritual extortion, whatever, emotional abuse, trauma, all of this stuff. This is what it did. This is what it did to us. What to speak of the sexual abuse that a lot of kids and women and a lot of people. Suicides, my friend Jagjivan and Janardana, Nishringananda's son, casualties of this crap. Acting like it's just like, that's not for me. That's not for me. I sure hope not. Delusion on steroids. I know, right? Like, I don't know, man. And I'm not blaming this guy. If you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know what you were in, you don't know what you were in. That's why Mike is here to raise awareness. You can be in this cult and get out of it and not realize what you were involved in. You're just like, you know what? I don't want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning no more. I don't want to chant rounds anymore. I don't want to worship this statue anymore. I don't want to play Hare Krishna anymore. I can understand people don't want to do that. They didn't realize what was really going on. Maybe they're believing the lies. Oh, Lokanath Swami didn't molest any kids. Oh, Bhaktividyapurna Swami didn't molest any kids. Oh, Bhavananda didn't molest any kids. Oh, Kirtanananda didn't molest any kids. Oh, he didn't have anybody shot. Oh, nobody did this and did that. Oh, the kids. I mean, I believed that when I heard about abuse and that was asking about abuse, I believe what they told me. They told me, hey, that was a long time ago, and everything's got fixed. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you, Eliana. Good to see you here. Hey, all, man. Hey, Howard Johnson, how you doing, man? Good to see you here. So, those of us, those of you that watch my videos regularly, you know what's going on. You know what you were in. A lot of people like this guy, he doesn't know. He just doesn't know, or he's not saying. It could be that he's not saying it. I don't know.
Seriously, after that?
I was probably about a year and a half outside of the monastery, and then about 4 years in the monastery.
So significant.
Yeah, so
chunk of your
somewhere between 5 and 5.5 years. I'm not totally sure of the exact, but it's around about that sort of time. So quite a significant amount of time.
And obviously, well, not necessarily obviously, but I know from talking to you, you're no longer kind of a member of ISKCON and would no longer consider yourself affiliated with them anyway. What led to was it a kind of lengthy disenchantment, or was it something that you suddenly thought, it's over?
I think lengthy disenchantment probably would be quite accurate. How it sort of manifested was kind of interesting because I obviously lived in the monastery for lived within one of the monastic communities for quite some time. And I think like any person, when you join any kind of group of people, you always have doubts about things.
Sure.
But when you're living in such a closed environment,
there we go. So we get filming outside of the church.
Absolute proof that we are in a park in the Netherlands. And why do they always do it at 1:45 the hour?
Just warning, it's almost time for lunch.
Time for a sandwich. What was I saying? So while I was living in this monastic community, naturally, you know, like anything in life, we have sort of doubts and things. But of course, when you're in an enclosed space, social space like that, airing your doubts can be quite difficult. So I kind of sort of put them on the back burner. But
So he's he says airing your doubts can be, you know, and that's when you know you're in a cult. That's when you know you're in a cult. If you can't ask questions, and it's anytime you ask a question, it's a confrontation, or, you know, like my friend told me, he just cut me off. He didn't want to argue about whether we landed on the moon. I told him, I said, I worked for the company that built the thing that landed on the moon. You can't convince me that we didn't land. All your conspiracies and all your things, I'm not falling for it. They're like trying to tell me the earth is flat. I said, I'm not falling for it. And, you know, and you can jump up and down and say whatever you want. And he was like, well, Prabhupada says, and that's it. And he was like, and I got the message. It's like, if you don't want to agree that with Prabhupada, you got to keep that to yourself. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to explore the idea that Prabhupada was wrong. We're just not going to do that. We're not going there. We're not going to entertain that concept, that idea. We're not doing that. And I learned that that's how it is. And I read that. And then when I read the conversation where Prabhupada told them, look, if you don't accept what I say in my books about Bali Maharaj having 8 million, 4 billion servants, then there's the door. And it was the same thing that the guy told me, that my friend told me. The exact same thing. The Prabhupada told them. I put in my books, that's it. First he said, if my disciples, they told Prabhupada, look, we just want to know from you, because we asked Revatananda and he couldn't answer. And Prabhupada said, well, if he can't answer, then well, I can't answer either. And they said, but you're the guru. And he said, no, what's in my books is in my book. That's it. And they said, well, no, because he says, well, he's my disciple. I've authorized him. He can do, my disciples can do whatever. And they said, well, what about the time when he asked me for a blowjob? Is that the absolute truth then too? Probably didn't have an answer for that one. Probably there was no answer for that. Probably just said, just go away. Just go. You've exposed me. I'm a fraud. You just go. Told him to leave. He just told him to leave. It's better that you don't preach. Just go. Stay out of cults if you can. Stay away and out of cults. Definitely, that's what we're here. We're here to tell people that you gotta get out of this cult. You gotta leave. You gotta leave. And if you're watching this video and you are wondering what Hare Krishna is, and it just seems like some nice guys, and they gave me a book, and there's a temple down the street and a restaurant. I don't care. Get the fuck away from them. You're gonna wish, if you don't, you're gonna wish you did. They will tell you need spiritual credit, sukriti, to understand their nonsense, and because their goddamn gurus say so, you gotta swallow the pill. You know, Uh, absolutely right. It's hilarious when this kind of members babble about Prabhupada said this or that. Trust me, bro. Prabhupada said, it is, so it's real. Prabhupada told them, and they told me, so it's got to be true. Yeah. This dumbass went to Harvard. This dumbass went to Harvard, got a Harvard education, and he believes shit that Prabhupada says over his Harvard friggin' instructors in Harvard. That's how dumb he is. You think if one of his Harvard instructors said, hey, there's no demon head eating the moon, you think Hridayananda is going to say, well, I guess you're right? No, he's going to say, well, my guru Prabhupada says there is a demon head eating the moon. This is a fucking dumbass. Just like, somebody posted something about the Vedas. This is how stupid these people are. Somebody posted something about the Vedas. And I said, well, the Vedas are just stories. You gotta be you gotta be a fool to live your life according to these stories. It's just stories. If you like them, you like them. Just like Patton Oswalt said. I'm happy you like the book. I'm happy you like these books. I'm happy you like this stuff. But asking me or telling me or living your life according to this stuff, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. This stuff about Atman and Brahman and Parabrahman and Paramatma and all of this stuff. And all of Swabhava and Swadharma and Varnashram and all this stuff is meaningless. It's meaningless. Might as well be talking about old Mother Hubbard or the old lady lived in the shoe. Or friggin' Rapunzel. Or the three little pigs. And, I take that back. At least with the three little pigs, you can learn something from the three little pigs. The straw is not strong enough to build a fucking house out of. And the other one, I don't know what the other one built his house out of, but that wasn't strong enough either. But if you want to build a strong house, brick, okay? That's what you got to use. You got to use brick. So even the three little pigs, you can learn something. But I can't learn anything from a story about Krishna having sex with a bunch of little girls down by the river under the full moon during the Rasa dance. Or how putting a baby Krishna under a cart and letting the cart fall down and it turns into a demon. How is that teaching me anything? It's teaching me not to put a little baby underneath the goddamn cart. A half lion man coming out of a pillar and killing a bunch of little kids and then putting the old man on his lap and pulling his friggin' insides out. And they're teaching me what? Oh, the old Mother Hubbard goes to the cupboard. I can learn something. You know what? Don't be irresponsible. Keep some reserves in your cupboard, okay? Don't go, even the dog was hungry. Don't do that. Don't jump to conclusions. There's a lot of stories, a lot of fables. Teach you something. So I take it back. You can teach kids a lot of stuff with the Mother Goose and the Grimm's fairy tale. There's a lot of stuff they can learn in that stuff. But there ain't nothing they can learn reading the Krishna book. About Krishna stealing little girls' clothes, and little girls got to come out of the river, put their hand over their pubic area, and go ask for their clothes back. And that's teaching little girls something? That's okay for little boys to do that? Or men to do that? To always be submissive? Make sure you cover your pubes if you're coming out with your hand? What the fuck is that? Why should my little girl read that? About how the boy stole the girl's clothes, went up in the tree and made them come out naked and take their clothes back. Why should my little girl read that story? What's that teaching her? Ramananda Roy rubbing his hands all over the little girls. What's that teaching little girls? That a grown man can do that? And you guys just let him do it because you're a Devadasi? And he's a Ramananda Roy? He's a guru? That's what you're teaching these little girls? Where's that video? I'm going to jump right to this video. I'm going to jump right to this disgusting friggin' video. Where is it? Oh man, don't tell me I don't have it now. Here it is. No, wait. Here it is. Look at this. This is talking about little girls and grown men. Strange grown men.
My dear Gurudev, take it beautiful. I love you.
They got her fucking. They got her, this little girl. It's like his Vyasa Puja, his birthday. We'll get to that in a second too. She's reading him some things. She's overcome with feelings because she's got to love him, some old man that she doesn't even know. But they've brainwashed her into thinking that she's got to worship this guy. Otherwise, she's not a good devotee. She's not a good little girl. She doesn't get up there and.
I love you very, very much. With your help, I'm learning to be a good devotee. For your help, I'm chanting 3,000 japa every day. My parents taught me to play some melodies and harmonium, and I sing kirtan and harinams that we organize. I'm very happy that I meet you in my life. You are very dear to my heart. I love visiting your parikras and singing kirtan with you.
This guy is always around these little girls, man. And to see him sit there and have these little girls come up and praise him and do this stuff, to me, it's just me. I'm just talking about, it's Mike, and I'm just saying, this is fucking disgusting. This is fucking disgusting to me. If it was my birthday, if I was having a birthday party, if I was having a birthday party and I had all my friends come over and I said, bring your kids. And all the little kids came up and started reading messages about how, oh, Mike, I love you so much. You're so dear to my heart. You're teaching me so much about this and that. And I'm so glad you came into my life. And then she sat down and another little girl came up. Little girl. I'm talking about 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know. I think people would say, what's wrong with this guy? And what's going on? And who's these little kids? And who's letting them do this? Am I the only one that thinks this is fucking weird? Am I the only one that thinks this is freaking weird and disturbing?
I think you're the coolest kirtan dancer and singer in the world. For all love that you give me. I sleep with your unicorn every night. You say I'm always smiling, but I always see how you smile and shine like a sun. I have your picture on my table.
She says he shines like a sun, and she has his picture on her table. She's like 8 or 9 years old, and she's already worshiping this guy like he's God. And what does he do for her? What is he doing? What is he teaching her? She says he's teaching her. What is he teaching her? What does he do? When does he see her? It's not like he's giving her, like, teaching her English or teaching her Japanese or teaching her to, I don't know, some skill or something. What does he do? He says he chants, mumbles, and tells lectures about these stories. She thinks he's the greatest friggin' guy on the planet. She's got his picture, and she got all these things, and she's worshiping him like he's... I think that's friggin' pretty weird to me. I don't know, it's just weird to me. Stay away from Hare Krishna restaurants or businesses, especially those named Gokul, Rasa, or Govindas. My friends were coerced to buy their books in those stores, and none of them did. Nobody wants those books. Nobody wants those books. That's why they got to push them face to face. Gentleness on steroids. Man. Justice for little girls. This is friggin' disgusting. Everything that I know about this, even if I didn't know everything I know about this cult, it would still be disgusting. It's a million times worse because of what this cult does and what it preaches. It preaches that these little girls need to be married off to grown men. And that guys like Ramananda Roy, if you got control of your mind, which is a bunch of bullshit, but they're preaching like, if you chant enough, you can rub on a naked little girl and you don't even, you want bullshit. This is bullshit. Ramananda Roy rubbing on those two naked little Davy Dassies. Taking him to a secluded place so no one could see what he was doing. Teaching this stuff to little kids. Worshipping this guy. The fuck is this guy? This fucking degenerate, disgusting, child molesting piece of shit. It is disgusting. It's so fucking disgusting. He's sitting there. He doesn't see anything wrong with it. He has no clue. Guy's got no clue how fucking disgusting he is. It's just... the unicorn. The unicorn. Oh man. And they're putting and putting that little girl up to it. Ruining their lives, man. It is so sad. That little girl, they're grooming that little girl. He's grooming that little girl, man. And whether, it's just disgusting. Him sitting there getting off on that. Getting off on the little girl, telling him how much she loves him, and he's a shining light. He shines like the sun. I have your picture on my table, and he's like, and I chant for you with 3 rounds, and well, your love, and this and that, and he's just like, that's my little girl. I'm totally getting off on this. It's crazy, man. Nonsense. It's absolutely... Most of these kids will not stay devotees. Instead, will hate the cult because they experience trauma in it. Yeah, yeah, I don't even know how to comment because my own daughter was I don't I most devotee children don't stay in the movement. The ones that do is all for spiritual ego, and they did not go to Gurukula. Yeah, it's a Stockholm syndrome. It's brainwashing, Stockholm syndrome. It runs a whole gamut. Growing up in this shit, man, they don't know any different. They don't know life without it. They don't have no clue, and that's different than people like me and those of us who joined this on our own when we were grown adults and we just said, hey, we were lied to, manipulated, we were cheated, scammed. We thought it was the truth. I believed all the bullshit. And it's all bullshit. So I did it on my own as an adult, but I feel like I got scammed. It's no different than buying a piece of shit car, and they told you it was brand new. You didn't know you're getting scammed. Buyer beware, and that's why that phrase is important. Buyer beware, because people will scam you. If 10 people are selling a used car, you better believe that there's a good percentage of those people, they got a friggin' lemon that they're trying to get rid of. And only 1 or 2 out of those 10 actually have a good deal. Yeah, buyer beware. So yeah, we got cheap. We weren't growing up in it. I can't imagine growing up in the Hare Krishna. That's got to be. The ones who stay become crazy and cannot act like a normal human in this world, just like Rasika Swami. You're right. You're damaged. And the damage starts early. The damage starts as a child. These little girls are going to be fucked up as adults. They'll look back and go, man, my parents made me worship this old guy. Guy was rubbing his hands all over me and made me sit on his lap. Maybe bring him his food and wash his feet and do all this stuff. This creepy old man who was touching my legs and rubbing his hands on me. Even if they do and did Gurukula and are living with their sexual abuse trauma and blame it on ISKCON instead of the founder and the teacher of ISKCON, who was a child marriage criminal himself. Exactly. Because they don't. It's the manipulation and the just like hot lips. They want it to be real. I grew up in this thing. I'm 17-year-old. I was abused, and all of this stuff happened to me. And you're telling me that this ain't real? This shit's real. It better be real. It better be real. You put me through this and raised me in this shit, and now I'm gonna find out that it ain't real? Fuck that. This shit's real. Like my friend Radhakunda. He said, even if you could prove to me that Hare Krishna is fake and not real, I would still do it. Because it's so much fun. It ain't fun. You're brainwashed. Ain't nothing fun getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, taking a cold friggin' shower, living in friggin' Vrindavan. There ain't nothing fun about that. It's interesting. It's like camping. It can be fun for a day or two. Something different. But that ain't fun. Chanting, push this shopping cart full of books around a Costco parking lot. That ain't fun. Especially if you found out it was fake, you're going to tell me it still is fun? If you found out everything was fake, if I could prove to you that everything... I can prove to you everything's fake. You just don't want to believe it. But if I could show you everything was fake and phony, you would stop doing it? No, you've been brainwashed into it. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe the truth. You want it to be fake. And you want it to be real. You don't want to believe the truth that it's fake. You want it to be real. Like Hot Lips. And until they realize that it's Prabhupada, then they ain't gonna ever come to terms with what happened, because they're gonna be blaming the wrong people, and they're not gonna get the justice or the apology or the responsibility. If your father is the one who was the deadbeat, but you grow up thinking that it was your mother that's the deadbeat, and you're blaming your mother, but it was the father that's the deadbeat, and you never understand it. It's never going to be resolved because you're blaming the wrong person. Every single Guru Kuli I know has suffered horrible trauma from their parents' abandonment and negligence. It seems that way. It seems that way. It seems that way. I'm going to say, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. It seems that way. So we did this guy, and we did, okay, so we did the little girl. Okay, we did the little girl. So here's this fool. This is the same fool. Look at this guy. This is the scam. This is the guru. This is the guru that this little girl says is shining like a sun. This guy. Look. Where's the sound? There's no sound. Oh, here we go. All right, he's so cool. He's such a cool guru that he can crowd surf. I guess he can crowd surf. He's gonna crowd surf. I mean, what better way to get a bunch of hands all over your body? Some women and maybe some men. Who cares? I get their hands on my body because they're holding me up, and I'm crowd surfing through the. I mean, who does that? Who does that? A guru? A guru is doing that? This is the guru who's got his hands all over these little girls, and now he's in a crowd of people, and he's going to be, and now he's crowd surfing so that people got their hands all over him. He thinks it's some kind of, I don't know, this guy. What kind of weird shit is that? And that's just some weird shit. No, but that is just some weird. Even Bhagavan Das' daughter, Manjari Dasi, was badly burned with ghee at the temple in France while their parents were out distributing books. It's total neglect. Total child neglect. These people, they don't deserve this. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. When I hear about shit that I don't know about, and I just go, yep, I don't know what to say, uh, it's amazing. But this guy again. I gotta watch it again. What is that? What does he think it is? What is it, Lollapalooza or something? He thinks I don't know, what does he think he is? This is the guy that little girl says shines like a sun, and she loves him so much, and he's teaching her so much, and she chants to him, and he's on doing this stuff. I don't understand what all this stuff is. I really don't. I don't understand the crowd surfing thing. I mean, I understand crowd surfing. You're at Lollapalooza or you're at Coachella or some big festival, and the band is playing, and the guy jumps. I understand. I know what it is. I'm not that old. I know I know what it is. But why is he engaging in that? This guru, this holy man. Remember, he's a holy man. There's a holy man. That little girl loves this guy. He thinks he's God. She thinks he's God. She's got his picture on his table, on her altar. She's got a little picture there. She's got a unicorn. She worships this guy. Literally worships this guy. Meanwhile, I don't know what kind of guru he thinks I don't know what kind of guru she thinks he is. I don't know what kind of shit he thinks he's doing. But this is some weird, bizarre friggin' behavior. It's crazy. Sound teaching and action. It's crazy. What is he doing? Man, it just gets crazier. It gets crazier and crazier, man. It gets crazier and crazier. Okay, so I got another video, and some of these videos were sent in by Rafal. He sent these in. And he was like, "Yeah, you gotta check these out, man." The little girl video was Rafal. Let's see, what's this one? So here we go. One of the biggest creepy, disgusting people ever to be in ISKCON, and they just can't get enough of this guy. So this is on their Srila Prabhupada memories. I mean, look, if you got like the most disgusting person, look, do you have to include him? You have to include him, right? You just have to. There's just like some weird law.
I have so many palaces all over the world that I can stay in. He said, practically speaking, there's no difference between me and the Goswamis in terms of our lifestyle. He said, they stayed under a different tree every night. I stay in a different palace every night.
This guy's obviously gay. I mean, don't ask me how I know. Don't ask me how I know, but he's just like every other gay guru that I've ever met in ISKCON. He's got that. There's something gay about him. There's nothing gay about him, but we know he's gay, and we know, or bisexual, or whatever he is, and that's not a disqualification. It is a disqualification if you're trying to be a holy man and you're preaching against that. if you are practicing what you are preaching against, then there's a problem with it. There's not a problem with it. It's a problem with you. There's a problem with you. And you are a disgusting scumbag. And ISKCON cannot get rid of you. And you're going to be a stain on the friggin' copings of ISKCON forever. You're going to be a shit stain on the copings of ISKCON. This guy. This piece of shit.
They wrote, I write. He said, originally, I did not want to come here. He said, not to America, but to this world. He said, Krishna asked, I want you to write those books.
Okay, now how I gotta just say, I gotta stop right there. How mentally ill do you have to be to believe that Krishna talked to Prabhupada and told him, I need you to go to the material world and write these books? And this pedophile here, this pedophile here, he thinks that he believes it. He believes that Krishna talked to Prabhupada and told him, I need you to write these books. Oh man. The crazy thing is every guru I know has suffered some sort of physical abuse in this cult. Yeah, just about. That's what I said. The ones that I met that said that they weren't abused or they didn't see abused or what, I question them, and I'm not saying that they are purposely misremembering. It could be that they are. They just can deal with it. They just couldn't deal with it. They're too little. They're too little children to deal with that trauma. They don't know that they were abused, or they just blah it all out. They either know someone that was abused, or they were abused, or someone in their family was abused. I question the ones that say they weren't abused. I question, like, well, how did you go to Dallas School in 1976 and you weren't abused? How were you in Vrindavan in 1980 and you were not abused? I just question, like, how? A lot of them a lot of the kids that I talked to when I was at the LA Temple would say, these are the grown kids, would say, oh, my brother was abused. Oh, a lot of kids in my class, I know a lot of kids that were abused. I wasn't abused, but I heard about it, I saw it, and I just say, well, how did you? I mean, obviously, some teachers maybe they had their favorites. Maybe some kids were good at escaping, the Artful Dodger type thing. They were able to keep hands off of them somehow. I question how that's possible, but that's what I think. I think that either they shut it down and they can't remember what happened, or they don't think they were abused, or they're not being honest. I find it almost impossible to. They're not being truthful. I think some of them are not being truthful because they don't want to admit that that there was abuse. They think that if they don't speak out, that maybe it'll lessen the damage. Children used to get beat up really badly in Mayapur Gurukula. I can't even imagine what it's like. It's got to be like Lord of the Flies. It's got to be like every kid for themselves. fending off bigger kids, fending off adults, fending off sexual abuse, fending off physical abuse, just trying to survive. And that's supposed to be a spiritual environment because they get up in the morning and chanting. That chanting ain't nothing. When you strip all that bullshit away, that's just a concentration camp for little kids. That's all it is. Because that chanting ain't doing nothing for them. It's not doing a goddamn thing. If it was doing something, you still can't abuse kids. But if it was doing something, you can say, well, you know, at least they got a top-notch education. Yes, some of them got abused, but, you know, they came out with, you know, master's degrees and what. No, you can't. You definitely can't say that, and that doesn't make it any better. But you can't even say that. You can't say anything. These kids got traumatized, abused, sexually abused, and tortured, and they didn't even get an education. They got their lives stolen, their childhood stolen, their education stolen because they didn't get one, and their future stolen because they're adults and they don't know how to do nothing. They ain't got no education, can't even fill out a friggin' application. They have no skills. Lucky if they can drive a friggin' taxi. And they'd go out and do the pick or push a shopping cart full of books. This friggin' cult is disgusting. In every way you cut it, slice it, dice it, how you look at it, you hold it up to the sun, or you look at it under it doesn't matter. It's friggin' disgusting. And all they're bouncing around, dancing, and all their bullshit. It doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make any spiritual nothing. It ain't a spiritual anything. It's a criminal organization is what it is. They block it off as if it didn't happen. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I think. Some people are afraid to speak about physical abuse they experience as children, and some will block it off. I believe exactly. I believe, yeah. I believe some of them is just too traumatizing, and they honestly don't remember. They just block it off. And therapy can bring that shit out, but hey, if it's blocked off, why do you want to bring it out? I mean, I don't know. I'm no therapist, so I don't know. But yeah, I think children will deal with abuse in different ways, regardless the trauma is there, and eventually it catches up to them. Yeah, I agree. And even like my friend Jog Jivan, who was a grown man, 50 years old, 55 years old maybe, and he was gay, and he's in the Hare Krishnas for 30 years, something like 30, 20, 25 years, 30 years as a gay man, living as a gay man, or as a repressed, closeted gay man in a homophobic cult, manipulated, brainwashed. I don't know how he lived through it for those years, dealing with it. Well, he didn't. He committed suicide. He couldn't deal with it. He couldn't deal with being gay in a homophobic cult that had him friggin' manipulated and brainwashed. And eventually, he took his own life. How many others? How many others that we don't know about? How many Jog Jivans are there in the world? In the history of ISKCON, how many Jog Jivans? You think he's the only one? You think Jog Jivan was the only one? In 50, 60 years of this friggin' cult, you think Jog Jivan was the only brainwashed, manipulated homosexual that couldn't deal with being in it and committed suicide? I doubt it. That's like saying only one kid was molested in the Gurukul. When I see people like this talking,
come down and write those books.
all these books and Krishna and Prabhupada and all this. And
I don't want.
I think about these children that have been traumatized and their lives destroyed. I think about Jagjivan, who gave up his life over this bullshit. And you got this guy sitting here talking about how, oh, Krishna,
come to that.
I
don't want to go to that material
Prabhupada
world.
didn't want to come to the material world, but Krishna
And
asked him to.
Krishna said,
And Krishna said,
Don't
don't
you
worry.
worry.
I'll
I'll
take care of it. Fuck
everything."
you, you son of a bitch. Like Krishna came and talked, like Krishna went to Prabhupada and had a conversation with Prabhupada in the spiritual world and told Prabhupada to go to Earth and write these books. You gotta be out of your mind. And this guy, he wants you to believe that. This guy thinks that you'll believe him when he says that. This guy thinks he's a holy man and that if he says this, people will believe him.
You write those books.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe you, dude. I believe you because I believe you. Why should I believe you? I believe you got a nice green shirt on. Is that why I should believe you? You want me to believe this cockamamie story about Krishna telling Prabhupada to go take birth on Earth so you can write these books? You really want me to believe that? You really think I'm that stupid? Maybe your buddy Harvard dumbass Goswami believe that crap. I ain't gonna believe it. What the fuck? You gotta be so fucking stupid. You gotta be so fucking stupid to be this guy, this Bhavananda.
That was the first and only time that I've ever heard or read, I might be wrong, where Prabhupada...
Well, now he says he might be wrong. You might be wrong? Well, maybe you're wrong about that. But you think about that? Do you ever think about that? You fucking genius, Einstein? You ever think about that? I might be wrong.
Spoke about Krishna speaking to him and how he didn't want to go.
Oh my goodness. You're such a fucking gullible fucking idiot. Oh my goodness. But anyway, so that's Bhavananda and he's back in ISKCON. Evidently, they promoting the fuck out of him. They call him His Grace Bhavananda Prabhu. He's Blowjob Prabhu is what I call him. I call him Blowjob Blowjob Prabhu. No, he's as queer as they come. It's as queer as they come. Absolutely. He's as queer as they come. And he's going to sit there and tell you how homosexuals are farted out of the ass of Lord Brahma. Want me to believe that? You really want me to believe that? Homosexuals are farted out of the ass of Lord Brahma? These guys, man. So it goes back to Patton Oswalt. You got some friggin' nonsense beliefs, and I'm going to call them nonsense beliefs. You think homosexuals were created from the anus of Lord Brahma, and he just farted them out? Nuts. And the guy went to Harvard. The guy went to Harvard, and he believes this stuff. The guy went to Harvard. He likes the monks. This guy is the guy is a disgusting creep. The guy is a disgusting creep. So hey, I'm gonna move on because I'm running out of time here. But we're gonna move on to the next one. And hey, guess who's making a return? It is Knitting Cult Lady, and it's Knitting Cult Lady. She's back, and she's got a good one here. And you got to hear this.
No, it's not different. It's not. anytime you're celebrating your leader's birthday, you are 100% in a cult. Absolutely, no question. I'm Danielle, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I wrote a book, Uncultured, about growing up in the Children of God religious cult, where we celebrated his birthday for 3 days of fasting and then 3 days of feasting once he passed on. And then going into the cult of the U.S. Army, where we celebrate the Army's birthday on June 14th, which is what the parade is for. It's not a birthday parade for Donald Trump. It's a birthday parade for the Army, which is culty. I know, I've made videos about it in the past, but it's not for Donald Trump. If you're celebrating your leader's birthday, you are in a cult. Have a day.
Yes, if you are celebrating your leader's birthday, you are in a cult. It doesn't mean you can't celebrate your friend's birthday. You can go have a drink with your friend, whatever, your loved ones. You can celebrate your birthday. That doesn't mean you're in a cult just because you're celebrating someone's birthday. If you're celebrating the leader's birthday, all right, that's a red flag. Okay? We clear on that? Are we clear on that? You don't want to be celebrating. Oh, wait a minute. What do we have here? Oh, wait, look. Wait, look.
Jack. Hey, Jack. So, I thought I would have Brahmatirtha, who you all know, interview me and see if he can. It's like stump the guru. See if you can, ask a question I can't answer.
So it's Harvard dumbass Goswami's birthday, Vyasa Puja. It's not just a birthday; it's Vyasa Puja. It's worshiping the Vyas. So he represents Vyasadeva because he's the guru, and it's the worship of the guru on his birthday. So it's his Vyasa Puja Acharya Dev, Harvard dumbass Goswami. And he's going to play Stump the Guru.
So Brahmatirtha, yeah, that way we could talk about trying to push forward Prabhupada's movement. Hey, Madri. Luego en España, ¿verdad?
And before we begin, I'm going to ask everyone to mute, or the host to mute everyone, so we don't get extraneous noises that tend to come in. And again, I ask everyone who is a semi-decent can turn on their camera if it's practical.
So he's going to have this devotee, this Brahmatirtha, ask the questions that he can already answer rather than have a real challenger. And I'm not saying I'm a real challenger. I didn't go to Harvard, okay? I'm not, I didn't go to Harvard. I can't debate Harvard dumbass Goswami on any subject because I can't. I'm not qualified, first of all, in any subject to debate him in. So he's definitely got that on me. But I would ask him questions about the Vedas and ancient tradition, 5,000-year-old civilization, Vedic civilization. What were the years of the Vedic civilization, and was there chanting of Hare Krishna back in the Indus Valley, with the earliest civilizations that don't even go back 5,000? I would ask him these questions and and see what kind of answers he has. Now that doesn't mean I could debate him in these things, but that's where I would go. And then I would ask him about child marriage, and I would ask him about Prabhupada having an 11-year-old wife. And then I would ask him about the Parampara and whether he believes that it's real, those are real people, and whether Vyasadeva is still alive, and whether Ganesh really has an elephant head, and all of these things. I would ask him these things. And is the sun really closer to the earth than the moon? That's what I would ask him, these real questions about real things. If this fool went to Harvard, then Harvard is clearly accepting very dumb people into their school. I know. That's what I said. Don't denigrate Harvard by claiming that you went there and they gave you an education, because you got to be a real idiot.
Yeah, it's actually, I really enjoy seeing everyone. Ah, come stai, Vrindarani?
Tutto bene, Hare Krishna. Tutto bene.
Facciamo muscolo di guru oggi.
Rivol, Vrindarani. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so again, I'm going to say, how is he any different
So,
than?
Brahmatirtha.
How is this any different than Guru Hari Das? This is no different at all. It's absolutely no different than Guru Hari Das. They're both cheaters. They're both scammers. They're both fooling these people. They both got these suck ups that think that he's some kind of pure something, pure this or pure that.
We should begin. Okay. First, my respects and obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas, and especially to Acharyadev. Before we give an interview, since I have the, you can't call this a floor. What do you call this? Whatever it is, I have it. So let me see, there's some messages from me. Okay. I've been given the go-ahead by Panchali to begin. First, I'll read a little something.
Oh, this guy can't even put a thought together. I can't believe this.
Because we have to. Really? We certainly live in an age of conflict where quarrels happen over the least important concerns, and the important concerns are often left unattended. Our ISKCON society is not immune to the nature of the times,
There's gonna be some dumb question about how can we use devotional service in modern times and get through the difficulties of the modern ISKCON society and blah blah blah. It's some stupid question. I can hear it already.
Nature of the times and clashes arise. And I'll mention, when I ran the BBT division producing the 12th canto, and Acharyadev, you were translating it, and it's the only canto, of course, in the future tense. So I used to, I'll admit, snicker when I read the translations, thinking I'll never see this kind of, robber baron type governments and all the things that were predicted in the 12th canto and you wrote about. I said, I'll never see that in my lifetime. Oops, got that one wrong. And so we are not perfect. Our egos, prejudices, and misunderstandings influence. As someone who worked in conflict resolving, I see this phenomena daily. And of course, we all have the traumas from this. I say, if you've been in ISKCON for more than a few years and don't have a Purple Heart, for those who are not American, it's the medal.
Oh my God, I can't handle this. I can't handle this crap.
Soldier gets when injured in combat. If you don't have a Purple Heart, you're not here. In the midst of the storm, there's a center of calmness. And
so he's saying, if you've been in ISKCON for more than a couple of years, you should feel wounded and hurt and have a Purple Heart for your time in ISKCON. The fuck is that? I didn't join a friggin' spiritual organization or start doing an ancient spiritual practice so I can end up with a goddamn Purple Heart, so I can get wounded in combat. Listen to these fuckers, man. Wounded in Purple Heart, wounded. What's he trying to say? It's fucking idiots, man. It's just fucking trying to friggin' polish a goddamn turd. They're trying to polish a fucking turd. This man is such a fool. It's sad to hear the nonsense that comes out of his dirty mouth. These guys, he has diarrhea of the mouth. They all do, man. This speaking nonsense scam. Fucking, you can't even get a friggin' question out. They are so deluded. They think they're saving the world. They think they're on a mission, and they're getting Purple Hearts from being in ISKCON. Like being a good spiritual religious person is harmful. It wounds you. It hurts you. Yeah, Purple Heart. What about all the children? All the women that have been beat up? What about all of Nara Narayan's wives? They're the ones that need a Purple Heart. Give Nara Narayan's 5 wives and Purple Heart. And how about giving all the children friggin' their $400 million? No, you get Alan Dershowitz. You'd rather pay Alan Dershowitz money to knock your friggin' money down that you give the kids. You'd rather pay Alan Dershowitz money than pay your own kids. That's these fuckers, man. They'd rather pay Alan Dershowitz, they'd rather pay him a fee, a big friggin' $1 million fee to pay him, than give their kids the money. Why didn't they just give the kids the money they were going to pay Alan Dershowitz with? The fucking disgusting pieces of shit.
Anchored by devotional rationale, shastric, and real understanding of Prabhupada. Acharya, for me, you are that center who can always be depended on to sort out the many tribulations with profound philosophical and
He ain't profound, he ain't philosophical, he ain't nothing. He thinks the sun is closer to the earth than the moon. Because he's a fucking dumbass. Went to Harvard and he can't figure out there ain't no fucking demon head eating the moon. And this guy thinks he's everything. This guy thinks he's philosophical and he's a genius and he's friggin' intellectual and he's educated and all this stuff.
You often quote Rupa Goswami's distinction between principles and details of devotional service. Numerous times, that understanding alone removed the sources of conflict within our society and within.
That shit doesn't do anything. You could recite the glories of Rupa Goswami from now until the year 3,500, and it ain't gonna do nothing. It's never done anything, and it's never gonna do anything because it's a bunch of bullshit. They're so delusional. Like, oh, you recite the glories of Rupa Goswami, and that just floods the universe with transcendental bliss, and it solves all the problems of human service. Shut the fuck up.
In my own mind. You further balance the ideal with the real in direct line with Prabhupada's approach. We want to add Krishna to everyone's lives rather than impose orthodoxy. And that is, to me, the essence of Krishna West. In this process, ideals are posited, yet practicality prevails. It is this balance of ideal and real which makes for practical Krishna consciousness as presented.
See, he's Gora Haridas in his Krishna West world. That's all he is. He just wants to, he's just another Gora Hari. These guys are all scammers and fakers. Fuck them all. That's what I say. I say fuck them all. They're harming people. They're harming women and children and everybody. Men are harmed too. We all want to say women and children, but Jagjivan was a grown man. And he committed suicide. Janardana, grown man, he committed suicide. There's so many others. So many others. So many children. So many children, you think, well, the children sued and there was a $400 million lawsuit and my daughter wasn't part of that. She didn't get shit. And there are a lot of little kids that didn't get anything from that. There's kids getting molested today. They ain't getting nothing. Fucking disgusted with this shit, man. They all belong in jail. They all belong in jail. Every one of them. Getting sick of these freaks. I have any more videos? That's it for today. I'm sorry. That's it. That's the watch party today. We had a lot of fun. All of these videos. We had Knitting Cult Lady about the birthdays. We got Harvard dumbass Goswami celebrating his birthday with these other idiots on there and Zoom, just like Gorahari. They're no different than Gorahari. Scamming these people, doing a Zoom like I'm through my Zoom. I want to put the whammy on you. You get the mercy. You're going to get my mercy. Fucking mercy. This fucking bullshit. So we had Knitting Cult Lady. We had Harvard dumbass Goswami. We had Indra Yumna, Ramananda Roy Swami with the little girls. Little girls crying over him, think he's the greatest thing ever. Little girl worshiping, got his picture on her table, and she giving flowers and whatever to him, crying on his birthday. And nobody else thinks that's a little weird. It's just weird, man. These guys are fucking freaks, man. You had Bhavananda, Blowjob Swami on there, talking about how Krishna went to Prabhupada and told him, you got to go down to earth and write these books. It's crazy. This is crazy overload of crazy today. This is like a crazy meltdown. This is like it's crazy to the core, and it just melted down, went through the floor, and became an elephant's foot of fucking nuts. These people are nuts. Who else did we have? Then we had the two guys that joined. They didn't even know what they joined, but it wasn't for them. They got out. They got out and didn't know. Or didn't say. So you can get in and you can get out and you don't even know what you're in. You don't even know the bullets that you dodged. You have no clue. And then we had Patton Oswalt. We had Christopher Hitchens talking about how dangerous Islam is. Well, I say Hare Krishna is just as dangerous. Just as dangerous. And we had Patton Oswalt talking about if you got some crazy beliefs, I have a right to point it out that you got some crazy beliefs. And if you think that there's a demon head eating the moon, then it's a crazy demon head eating the moon. And don't try to tell me, oh, well, you just don't understand how the demon head is eating the moon. No, you don't understand reality. That's what you don't understand. Don't try and tell me that because I don't understand, or like I don't understand Bhagavad Gita, or I don't understand Bhagavatam. I've forgotten more than what most people ever learn. I've probably forgotten more than those two guys ever learned in their 5. One guy was in it for 5. One guy was in it for 9 years. The other guy was in it for 15 years. I was in it for 20. That's what I'm saying. I rarely meet anyone who's been in it for 20 years and then leaves. I'm not saying I'm the only one, but I'm saying I'm the only one I know of. Don't tell me I don't know Bhagavad Gita. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just because I'm telling you there ain't no I tell you there ain't no demon head eating the moon, you're gonna tell me, well, you just don't understand Bhagavad Gita. No, I understand Bhagavad Gita. You can tell me. Tell me what I understand. Tell me what I know, what I don't know. Take a hike with that bullshit. So that's my ranting for today. Thanks for joining in on my rant today. I want to thank everybody for being here. I'll be back as soon as possible with another rant. I gotta collect some videos, find out what's going on. I'll be right back, probably tomorrow, tomorrow maybe. with some more Hare Krishna updates and some more Hare Krishna news. It's great seeing you all in here, Tim and Howard Johnson and Fake Human and Liam and Eliana and everybody and Jeff and I don't even know who else. Yeah, everybody. Howard Johnson. Yeah, I said Howard Johnson. And Jenna, and even Queen of Karma. Queen of Karma was in here. She had to dip out early, but I want to thank her for stopping by. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Everybody have a great day, great night, great morning, great afternoon. Have some great luck. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And everybody stay out of a cult. And for all you new people out there that don't know what you're into and don't know who I am, here's me as a Hare Krishna, long time ago.